Welcome to Casual Watch Talk, the podcast from the Casual Watch Reviewer YouTube channel. Join us as we talk everything watches, from watch collecting, the latest horology news and interviews. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe on your favourite podcast app. Let's dive into the show. Hi everyone, welcome back to episode 57 of Casual Watch Talk, and we're in video again. Now, I said I'll only mention this for the first 5 times that we're in video, but we're in video.
Right. Yes, in living color.
In living color.
Again.
How have you been, Kris?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Awesome. Well, we've got a jam-packed show this week. We're going to do some news, and then for the main topic, I have been obsessed with watch straps again. I go through phases, and I know I've mentioned on the podcast before, I'm sure I'm more of a watch strap collector than a watch collector. I don't know if that sounds weird.
Yeah. You have a problem when you start. Have you seen those packs they make? That, like, I saw someone that has, like, they're like a fishing tackle, but like a craft pack, and they like perfectly slot into little drawers. And I was like, oh, that's dangerous. I was like, oh no. So if you have anything like that, we have packs of them, and I definitely have a couple packs.
I am weird where I've got, and we'll talk about it later, where I've got straps that I think are too good to put on a watch. I'm like, oh, I haven't got a watch that's like good enough for this strap. But anyway, we'll get to that for the main topic.
All right, good.
Well, let's kick it off with watch obsession. So have you had a watch obsession this week, Kris?
Nothing crazy. I mentioned this a couple of podcasts ago, and since we're on video, I figured I'd take the chance. I'm about to take apart. I've got some hands that I want to try. I'm about to take apart this Dan Henry.
Okay.
And you can't really see it. I'll share the photo of it. You can't really see it on their site. Here we go. But you know, the hands look white, but they're silver. Okay.
That happens a lot, doesn't it? I noticed on a lot of watches. I think Matt Walbrook that I bought, I was convinced the whole time that it was coming on Kickstarter that the hands would be white for some reason. Yeah,
I mean, I knew they were silver, and even then, I mean, like, I knew they were silver, but I didn't quite realize. And it's like the reality versus, you know, the photos that you get. And so you may not be able to see it here zoomed in, but it's, you know, the silver, it's super hard to see the time on the hands.
Oh, yeah.
So I figured out the sizing for the movement, and I've got some hands to try. So I'm going to crack it open and see if I can change it up a little bit. A little, you know, one of a kind Dan Henry mechanical Mecha Quartz chronograph.
Have you taken the hands off a quartz watch before? I wonder if they're any different than a mechanical watch.
I have. They are super smaller. They're super tiny. Like they make them as small as possible, as tiny as possible. So if you imagine, I mean, you've seen Kickstarter or microbrand watches where they offer it in a mechanical and a you know a battery quartz movement. Oftentimes that quartz movement is like a third of the size, and it's in this big plastic holder, and so everything's kind of scaled down, and the same is true. So like the hands, super tiny, you know, connector and little tool. So still, you know, micro machine. So I probably know worse. I'm not going to take the chronograph hands, any of the subdials off. So I should be safe, but not too worried about the experiment. We'll see.
Awesome. And do you want to do a wrist check as well? Wristwatch check.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, still rocking the 104. It's I changed up, speaking of straps, I changed up the strap. So I went I was out in the garage, and I probably ruined the black NATO, or at least it's time to tie that to a belt loop and put it through the laundry. And so I grabbed one of the original. This is like the test one that I got for Camping Auto Club. One of the original elastic single pass that I got on the watch, and it's super broken and super comfy. It's like ready for summer.
Awesome. Well, I'll mix it up. So I'll do my wristwatch check first. I am wearing the Veya I've not taken this off since I got it from Veya. What's led me to this topic this week of watch straps is it's one of those watches where it looks good on all straps and I can't make a decision like what strap to have it on. So I kind of went a bit mad and bought a load of straps off the internet from various different companies, some that I haven't bought from before. So we'll talk about that for the main one. And then my watch obsession has been, I've been trying to negotiate doing a watch review for this company. And I've always been intrigued by their watches. So let me just show you this. It's a company called Norqain. Have you heard of them before?
Yeah, I've seen these. I
think it's pronounced Norqain. I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
They've always intrigued me, this pattern on the dial. The fact that they kind of came from nowhere, I feel like, maybe 12 months ago or so. They're on the higher end for an ETA watch. I mean, this one we're looking at for the audio listeners is over $2,000 for a 3-hand sports watch.
Okay, yeah.
It has a familiar design to it, but the dial has that, it looks like one of those sort of parquet floors, are they called?
Yeah, or maybe like a carbon fiber weave.
Yeah.
Not the square, but the like diagonal weave.
Yeah, where you can really see the weave.
It looks very super sporty. I mean, that's what kind of gives it its sporty look, that gray color. And I assume looks like ceramics. You're getting ceramic, sapphire. They're checking all the boxes. Oh, they do it in blue too.
They do it in blue. The blue is the one that I've requested to be reviewed. I'm really looking forward to it. It's been one that I've been trying to negotiate for a while, so they're going to send it me and then I'm going to send it on. I've just had to wait for my turn for review. So How Dinky, I think, sells them in a few other places. So
yeah,
it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to check out, to kind of see the specs. It looks like it's hitting the marks for that value of a watch. I mean, a little pricier, but sharp design. I mean, I feel like if you're getting into that price range, it better be something that's, unique to them, and it doesn't look like a homage, and it's, it's got a decent movement in it, and all the specs. I'll be curious to see. That'll be great.
Well, shall we kick it? It's been quite a busy news week, so should we kick off with some news stories? First off, last week we covered the court case with the Rolex dealer, where one of the former employees was suing the Rolex dealer for what they called racketeering. But essentially, this former employee was painting the picture that this Rolex dealer was selling to grey market for a higher price. A turn of events, I suppose, is rather than just settle, which I think a lot of these kind of court cases do, the company, the Rolex dealer, was really affected by this. So they're going to take it the full way. They're going to go to court and everything. So it'll be really interesting.
Yeah, counter-sue and everything. Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder whether that'll expose any of the inner workings of Rolex dealers if they get subpoenaed.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't know. That's going to be. It's interesting that they countersued and then sort of continued with it, versus quietly settling it. But maybe this particular person, I saw some whistleblower allegations. So that once that happens, once you do that, there's certain legal precedences that have to be, so it's sort of like you filed a complaint, and then the company was, it's a public complaint, and the company was either able to resolve it or not, that sort of thing. But this wasn't a customer situation. This was an employee. So then you have, a working or an employment agreement involved in that. It gets messy. So I don't know. It still could settle out. It still could, we could see, but as as we said, it does seem like the temptation is there, but also maybe this countersuit is to sort of shed some light on the of course we wouldn't do that, of course we wouldn't, even though it's sort of like, you'd love to be able to take a truckload of these and just, quietly pop them over on Chrono 24 and make $6,000 to $7,000 a profit on them. But certainly they're responding to it strongly.
Yeah, they are. So it'll be interesting to follow that one. And then the next one, I only mention this because about Luminox. I reviewed a Luminox recently on the channel. Big thanks to Kris, who helped me out. Oh, in fact, as I'm talking about Kris, good friend to the show,
Yeah.
he saved some turtles this week. So he was in Texas when that big freeze happened.
That's great.
He actually went out in a kayak and rescued some turtles that were.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, yeah. I saw the pictures of like Subaru backs of Subarus just totally filled with turtles. Yeah. It was like, and then they had shot on the news. It was just all of them kind of hanging out in a big. In like a big office space. So that was
thankfully the all the turtles survived. Yeah, well, I'll throw up some of the news articles that he was in. So big shout out to Kris. Speaking of Luminox, anyway, I was quite impressed with the one that I reviewed. I'd never really reviewed them before, but there's Watch Pro have done an article on a new Bear Grylls one that actually looks decent. Like nice. Some Luminoxes do look decent. They do. I really like the stainless steel ones, but usually the Bear Grylls ones were a bit, I don't know, cartoonish.
A little questionable style. Yeah, a little questionable style.
So this one, they've actually made one that is a GMT, and it looks half decent. Yeah. Comes on a mesh strap. So I'm a big fan of that.
Let's see the pictures. That's the glow. Let's scroll down and let's see the other pics there.
Yeah. So we've got here
for our we'll placate our video watchers and listeners.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
It's got a really nice design to it.
Yeah, it's like an orangey red, pretty sharp, and okay. So the GMT hand is pretty cool. Pretty cool. It does look the business, and they've done the city names around the edge.
Yeah, and the tritium tubes are in the right are in the correct orientation, as Kris would say.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. So you know where 12 is, but also right they're oriented correctly. Nice.
Yeah, and my cool. the marathon I got that had tritium tubes. I've sent that off for a service. I'll mention it in another podcast how that went. If anybody else has a marathon watch.
I'm interested to find that out.
Next story is all pre-owned watches just got more expensive in the world. Right. Of course, I'm joking. So Hodinkee bought Crown and Caliber.
Yeah.
So that's what they were raising the money for. What do you think of this, Kris?
I mean, that's good. Good business. I feel like they're expanding their used watch sales, and I think Crown and Caliber was. I know Hodinkee was sort of dealing in some of that, but I feel like Crown and Caliber was more of that. And correct me if I'm wrong. Like a boutique used. So if you were looking for a particular watch that you wanted to make sure was in great shape, kind of a like a certified dealer that they would go through it. I think I'm getting that right. That they're the ones that would like make sure like the watchmakers would check it out, and it was it was very. I mean, you were paying for it, but at the same time, that seems to be the way the market's going, where there's so much question on is this legitimate? I don't want to just pop into a mall and get a used Rolex. I would rather get it from someone who is like, we've opened up the back, the caliber, the movement matches, the dates match, the serial number matches. This one's been serviced. It's ready to go. So it feels like, and Hodinkee certainly had the money.
Exactly. And you totally, that analogy of it being like a certified used car, I think is a great analogy for them. So similar to how Bob's watches were different than how eBay or Chrono24 work. So Crown and Caliber actually got the watches, the pre-owned watches in stock. They weren't just a website that sold your watch for you. They would buy your watch off you. Like you mentioned, they would spruce it up, check it was all legit, and then they offered their own guarantee as well. I think that was the first time that I noticed them. And you're right, Hodinkee they had those rare finds, didn't they? They only ever had a handful of watches on it. They seemed really expensive for what they were.
Yeah.
They would find like the obscure references.
Right. And like super posh, very specific that they'd have that stuff available, but it wasn't like their bread and butter. And so this sort of, it adds to the Hodinkee empire. Exactly.
And I tried to think of some joke about how what's more limited edition than a watch that's no longer made? And that's the only place they could go to get their thirst for limited edition watches.
Right.
They're like, we'll just have
That's
to buy
right.
all the old watches that can never
Right.
be made again. So,
Exactly.
but it's yeah. Plus, I mean, you know, it's a great avenue for them to sell, and I think hopefully it pays off for them, and that there's been a lot of consolidation in these pre-owned sites, haven't they, as well? Like, you know, Watchfinder was bought by Richemont Group,
Right.
and then it's got here also that Watches of Switzerland bought Analog Shift.
Okay, right.
So there is this consolidation down. So hopefully it doesn't mean that we end up paying more for pre-owned watches, but I fear it probably might do.
Yeah. I mean, I think as far as the market for used stuff during the pandemic, I think the market has been really hot for that because, you know, everyone in every price range has been at some point in the last year stuck on the couch with the tablet browsing, and you know, whether they're browsing for the first $1,000 luxury watch or the third $10,000 high horology piece, you know, it's you know, it's been really, we've seen the market shift up a lot for used to pre-owned, etc. So this is a signal that the big guys see that, and you know, and want to take advantage of it and pick up on it right now and say, like, we want a part of that growth. We want a part of because everybody's, you know, we don't think this is going to change. We think everyone's going to kind of continue to think about luxury wristwatches and, you know, the pre-owned sales. So very interesting.
So we got a funny comment on it's new to us having the podcast on YouTube, and we got a funny comment on the last video, which was somebody who was watching it thinking it was one of my single topic videos, which this is of course podcast style, and if you want to skip, just the time codes are down below if you want to skip around on anything. So he kind of, it sounded like he suffered through us doing the news, and he was about to switch us off until we started taking the mick out of Hodinky. So I made him a promise that this is almost a per episode occurrence. Would you say?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So in that theme, Chris, what have we got from Hodinky this week?
I mean, right into it.
It's another limited edition.
Oh,
yay!
Goodness gracious. Briefly before we started recording, I said to Sam, I said, is this the like $7,000 one? And he's like, I don't. Sure, yes.
I mean, yeah. So it's a tag. It looks good because it's just got Hoya on the dial, and I think the tag should just drop tag from it. That's just my own personal my own personal thing. But it's a vintage one, Hoya.
You know, and before we get into Dragon Hodinky again, I will definitely give them credit. They can definitely spot here what, like, Tag should be listening to this, because this is what people want.
Yes.
They don't want a 1990s Link Tag Heuer, you know, that look with silver and gold. Not interested in that anymore. This is what they want. They want retro, historically, you know, they want that vintage history. Heuer has it. Print these things.
I actually agree with you, because there's a lot of those tags that even in their current lineup where you could play that game, is this a tag or is this a Casio Edifice? Like it's got almost like an exaggerated sports watch, but then they obviously, you know, they cost a fortune. But this one, unfortunately, is, I'll just share it up again here. It's a really pretty watch for people on the audio podcast, on the actual audio podcast. It's a one single dialed, or two dials, I suppose, because the main dial chronograph.
Mm-hmm.
It's
so just
limited...
a 30-minute counter. 30 minutes. So it's 3 hands, but it's 30-minute counter. So no running seconds.
And it's got the date in the position where you would expect if it was a bicompact, where you would expect the other dial.
And has the date on the left, not the right. So they're swapped to a sort of a standard. But yeah, okay.
Again, limited edition to, you know, who knows what, because, you know, Tag's unable to produce a watch at scale like they have been doing ever since.
No, I mean,
like
there
the
isn't
80s.
enough. I mean, we are running out of stainless steel, so it's
exactly. I mean, Hodinkee couldn't even afford a color photo for this one, so this is all in black and white. So again, like yada yada yada, history, blah blah blah. Hodinkee kind of putting the sprinkles on top. Now this one is coming. This one is a dare-do. This one is that's a British terminology for all of our American listeners, or a northern one. This is a dare-do. This is $7,250. Like, and what is funny about it now? There is a difference between this one and the previous limited edition that they did, but they reference this one and they're like, oh well, with the amazing success of this previous one that we did, we've made this like monochrome version. So I went on the previous one, which was called the Skipper, and that was a limited edition for Hodinkee, and that was $5,900. So they're like blatantly pointing to the fact that they've just ramped the price up now.
And it's a very similar watch.
I think that one looks better.
I kind of like the fun dial colors. Like it's got the aqua, and it's a blue. It's it's got the subdials that have the green and orange. I think that's a like pop of color. I think that's way more my speed than the black.
I feel like even 5,900 for that is too dear. But anyway, I mean, before anybody in the comments who's really looked into this, the difference in price is because this is using a tag Hoya in-house caliber, which they've actually called a Hoya caliber 02 or something, which I believe they used in the Monaco.
So that price is basically just the movement, the in-house movement, the different caliber, different movement. Wow. That's a lot to say. Yeah, we've talked about this before, and I think you were going to, but at one point we should do we should talk about in-house movements, etc. Yeah. But I feel like that is a marketing term that it was just blown out of proportion. I mean, we have mentioned it certainly, but I will give credit to the folks that innovate with their in-house movements. We've talked about, I mean, even Omega, Oris, etc. There's some out there that are taking, Zenith, etc. They're pushing the boundaries of what their watchmaking can do, and then there's other companies that are changing the rotor on an ETA and calling it an in-house movement. And so I don't know if necessarily Tag is doing that here, and I don't know if it doesn't feel like that price premium is worth that.
No, I agree based on what I know. I mean, this Caliber 02 movement that they've made, it is a gorgeous looking movement.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it does look good. It does look good.
It's in such a competitive price segment, isn't it? That sort of between $5,000 and $10,000. That I'm wondering whether this will be one of the rare examples where Hodinkee doesn't sell out of them. Like I guess the market will have to decide. But
yeah, certainly will. Certainly will. Yeah. Well, it certainly looks. But again, you're in that price range. I mean, I'd have to fall in love with it. And I do wonder how long the spell, the magic spell of Hodinkee. I wonder how long that will last. I mean, maybe it'll just go on forever, but there's definitely, the music's going to stop at some point, and especially them, as I said in the beginning, especially them taking this and marketing it arguably better than Tag themselves. That should worry them. I mean, in the same way we've got a little tangent here. In the same way we've got all these Amazon trucks driving around now, right? We got an Amazon place that's close, and we got all these Amazon trucks driving around, and we went from occasionally like a guy in a minivan would show up and deliver Amazon packages, and now we have gray Amazon trucks driving everywhere. And I looked at it yesterday and I was like, if you don't think that they are going to try and replace UPS, you're not going to even see it coming. And it'll just be like, they'll just figure it out. They're going to figure out how to just, and so Hodinkee, purchasing a used, watch reseller, maybe just the first step here. So.
Yeah, exactly. All watches will just change to Hodinkis. Like, I've got 40 Hodinkis in the old collection here.
Correct me. They did a brand on. Was a swatch they did? What one did they actually branded Hodinki on it? Maybe it was that.
Maybe it was this. Maybe it was. No, it was, and it was the travel clock. Wasn't the travel clock just the Hodinkee travel clock?
Oh, maybe it's just the travel clock. I feel like they did. I feel like they were dipping their toes in this. So if we start seeing like a brand, Hodinkee, we know what you're up to.
Yeah, because
I mean, it's genius, but we know what you're up to.
I should know this, but is Hodinkee like Polish for time or Polish for watch or something? It does mean something.
Yeah, not going to touch that one.
Leave us a comment in the in the comment section down below, or join us over on the Facebook group. And a big thanks to everyone that's joined recently. Yeah,
we had a bunch of new folks. Yeah, a bunch of new folks come in. New wristwatch checks. Saw some EDC stuff from a couple of weeks ago. That's really good.
Yeah, we're going to have to get Don and Luke on the Facebook group to talk about the watch photography, because they're posting some incredible watch shots. I mean, I've got a YouTube channel and I can't even get my shots looking that good.
Right. You're like, I've been here. I have an SLR and I've been here for 1,000 hours. And you're like, forget it. I just saw this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that would be real. Now that we're doing these video podcasts, I think that would be really good to do a photography, watch photography. Episode.
Definitely. That sounds good.
Well, for our audio listeners, we're just going to pause for a very quick ad break. Welcome back. For the main part of the show, this is like a confessional thing for me, because I got this Veya. It looks good on most straps that I try it on, which means that I can't decide. Have you ever got like that, Kris, where you just can't decide like what strap to put on her?
Yep. And I definitely get the like, what am I going to be doing? And then I will occasionally change watches in the middle of the day. I will be that person. Like, you could tell me like what level we should do, like which level of like watch, nerd are you? And so I'm like, if the mood strikes me or something, I might, like if I was going out, or if I was changing my, like going from like working out or going out in the garage to completely like, going out on the town. Not that we've done a lot of that, but I'm definitely excited to do that soon. And I would maybe change watches, but definitely straps. So like if we're going on the beach, we're going to the lake, that's going to be a switch. If it's going to be warm out, it's going to be cold out. So definitely a switch up for there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been able to totally placate the or offset the strap addiction that I've had this week by telling my wife that, I'm doing a video on watch straps. But having said that,
I'm testing.
I feel like
these are all. Oh no, these are just for testing.
Exactly. I feel like I've got a good deal on some though.
Right. Yeah,
but
that's good. That's good. And you'll do the like, in the same breath, you'll do the like, I have paid my own money for these. They are not sponsored. Don't tell my wife.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely. The one that I've got on here on the Veya for the video listeners is a leather strap from Marathon. So I was checking out Marathon's website, and they sell leather straps for leather NATOs. This is for like $60. So I thought, I'll buy one like to test it. And then I went on Amazon, and Marathon have their own Amazon store, and they're selling leather straps for $20. So that what looks like the same. Now, I'm comparing them together, and I think the one that they sell on the site is slightly better quality than the Amazon one, but I bought the three, but they're really comfortable. But I would highly suggest, if you're interested in leather NATOs, check these out on Amazon. Not sponsored, not an Amazon-sponsored podcast or anything, but so it's been really comfortable. So I've got a leather on there, but I thought we could maybe look at the websites that we go to the most for buying watch straps, because when I've ever done videos on the YouTube channel about like top watch straps for various different watches, and they always get good feedback. So I thought, why not just do a single podcast where we talk about all the various places that we like to buy watch straps. this is probably the brand that I've reviewed the most on the channel. I just really like what Larry does, and this is Uncle Seiko. Uncle Seiko originally started off selling Seiko watch straps. He was really into buying and selling pre-owned Seiko watches, vintage Seiko watches, but you could never find a decent Tropic strap. Usually they were new old stock, very expensive. So he worked on re-engineering a Tropic strap, and then the rest of the watch strap community thanked him by ripping off basically all of his designs. Even though, I mean, he technically borrowed the Tropic one, but now, I mean, I feel like he remade the Tropic strap popular.
Yeah, because he wanted that look. He has a fantastic Seiko diver collection, and we wanted that look, and it just like, he's like, I'm finding these straps, but they're, these things are 30, 40 years old now, and no one, they're crumbling away just from time. And so it's kind of too bad, but at least if you get it from him, you're getting that quality, and that he's not letting just anything out the door. And, it's his customer interaction is super high. I mean, he tried a bunch of different types of rubber before he settled on the one that he went with, and sent out a bunch of samples and just got the community involved. So super cool. The other thing that I know he does is for the bracelets, the solid end links, and working to make the bracelets fit perfect and sort of match. So
yeah, I totally agree with you. I've pretty much had one of every one of his rubber straps. I just recently got this tattoo rubber one, which is really nice. It's got a texture to it, a design on it. It looks really cool in person. It's very thin. It's much thinner as I was expecting it to be. It's still strong, but it's very thin. So if you've got a smaller watch that you don't think a thicker rubber strap will go on. But I'm a big fan of, if anybody's watched the channel, I'm a big fan of Uncle Seiko. He's not only done the Tropic reissue, he did the chocolate bar strap, which was the one that was in Apocalypse Now. A lot of people think it was the waffle strap, but the chocolate bar, because essentially the center links looks like a chocolate bar.
Yeah, I bought the Tropic. I've got it in 22, and it sometimes finds its way onto my Bell and Ross when I want it to change it up a little bit. So yeah, very cool. Very cool.
The other thing as well, which I think is fairly recent or last couple of years that he's been doing, is metal straps. He's always done metal straps for Seiko, but he does some incredible metal straps. My favorite ever metal strap is, I think it's possibly his most controversial one, but it's the one that you either love it or hate it, is the razor wire strap.
It's very binary. Yep.
It is. I know you've seen mine, Kris. Have you ever seen any others in person?
No. I mean, maybe once. I would say once, and a couple times on Instagram for sure. They pop up, and I think it's definitely one of those ones where it's polarizing for sure. But when you super comfortable to wear. But cool.
It's so comfortable to wear, because if you're listening to this and you're not looking at Uncle Seiko website, it's hard to explain, but essentially it does look like razor wire. Like the center links are round, sort of oval shaped discs. Interesting thing with this is that you think that this would just rip all the hair off your arm. It looks like it's designed
razor in the name.
Torture. It looks like it's designed to torture any.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. It just gets everywhere. Right. Because you have to reweave the center links together.
Yeah, exactly. You have to reposition them so that you get the end piece in correctly. But it's so comfortable. I'll show a picture here, but you can almost lay it flat with the buckle on its side. There's that much articulation to it. Yeah. It's one of my favorite metal straps that he's ever done. But to your earlier point, he's got straps for the turtle, the president. He's recreated a lot of vintage straps that were no longer available. His beads of rice, very famous for his beads of rice ones. But so I'm going to say most recently, I would say he's had a lot of success, and I've reviewed quite a few on the channel, and that's his Speedmaster metal bracelets.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, really like the look of those. I would check out Speedmaster bracelets. Really cool, especially the beads of rice, which is my favorite. Next site that I like to go to, although I'm changing my tune a little bit on it, so I'll offer an alternative site, which is still owned by them anyway. But I used to really enjoy buying straps from WatchGecko. Have you bought from WatchGecko?
I don't think so. Is that, I mean, so they're UK based?
They are UK based.
Okay, that was the.
They sell watch straps branded under their Zulu Diver brand, and they're also, I can never say the name, but it's like Benito Centuri or something. There's an Italian rubber maker, very famous rubber watch strap maker, and they will put their own buckles on their straps as well. All around, great value. Their Tropics are good, but in particular, I really like their NATO straps. So they have one called the Swiss-made NATO, and just all round, really, there's all sorts of different styles. Now, I'm based in the US as well as Kris is, and they've just, unfortunately, they used to offer free postage to the US, but now they charge $20.
Brexit. Sorry.
That is one of the reasons that they gave me, because I actually asked them about this.
Yeah.
Also, they had some complaints about the length of time the postage was taking, so I can see why they've done it. But I actually just did a search to see if I could buy Zulu Diver from anywhere else, because that brand I really like.
The branding. Yeah.
And there is they also run a Zulu Diver website, which is only $10 to ship out from. So I actually bought some stuff from Zulu Diver. WatchGecko straps are always really well made. All the ones I've had never had any problems with them, and they do some great sales as well. They also have their own YouTube channel as well.
I'm definitely biased. I have not been at. Oh, yeah, there's the nice. Hey, nice. The three-hander, recognize that. I like the sort of softer seatbelt NATO, but I find they come with that upgraded heavy stainless steel hardware to make you feel like you're getting the value. And I don't know. I find the bigger, and some of them are pretty big. I don't know about these guys, but some of that hardware can get pretty heavy and thick on a NATO strap, and I definitely shy away from that. But the strap itself, the fabric itself, is super comfortable, super soft, nice. Yeah,
absolutely. So check them out. And then we can't be talking about NATOs without the channel's own Kris. With I'd love
definitely
for you to.
Biased,
you don't talk about this too much on the channel.
I don't inundate. But... Yeah, I appreciate that. And I hope folks appreciate that. Yes, this is Campeonato Club. So. A couple years ago, I tried to find some motorsports themed straps and couldn't come up with any of the very common styles that I thought everybody would like in the F1 and Group B and WRC and all sorts of Le Mans racing, etc. And so this is my take on it, and I have basically selected a small collection, put together a small collection. We ship from Southern California, and the UK shipping is definitely beating me up pretty good right now. I think I got it up to $12 to the UK, but I think it costs me like 17 right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've definitely found it's expensive, isn't it, to ship from the US?
Like I said with the hardware, I went simple, but I also kept the price low. And they're good, durable NATOs. And then our newest addition is the elastic comfort pack. That's the fun styles, Le Mans racing, rally, and sort of an orange, like a blue with an orange, which is the one I had on. Like I said, reasonably priced. I wish and I'll sort of while we're talking about straps, I will say I wish that I could have them manufactured in the US. I did try to find a strap manufacturer here, but it just that all that manufacturing went away in like the 80s to Mexico, and then in the 90s it went to China. But there are it's a good Asian manufacturer. I've got a good working relationship with them. They, we keep the quality up, and I'm not charging too much for them. So lots of fun colors and styles, and I'm proud of it.
Campinato Club. Watch straps, definitely if you're a car guy as well as a watch guy, which I like, so many people are.
Right. It makes sense. Yep. And that's definitely up my alley, and that's exactly why I put it together. So it's a lot of fun.
Next watch straps I love. You've heard me talk about them loads on the channel. He's become a real friend of the show, and that's Mikola over at Man Cave Leather. He's making handmade leather straps. He's from the Ukraine. And I think he just does a great job. They're very, very reasonably priced for what you get. He's got a ton of different styles.
Absolutely. Yeah. Some cool stuff. And all handmade.
Yeah, he does a great job of them. And he's actually sent me just full disclosure here, he's sent me quite a few straps, and I'm more than happy to review them on the channel. I actually bought the original first couple and just did the review, and then I messaged him afterwards saying, "Oh, cheers for." Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, would you review some others?" So I'm like, "Yeah, please." He sent me one of these alligator straps over, and this is the strap that I haven't found a watch yet. I'm like too afraid to put it on a watch because it just looks so good. I'm like, oh, I don't want to crease it.
It's I definitely have had that before. Or you find you find one that you're like, this is too nice for this watch, So
yeah, but I guess I should just go for it. But and then next one that I want to mention is similar to Man Cave Leather, a guy who makes his straps by hand, and that's Stevo straps. This was probably the first custom made strap that I ever bought. Was from Stevo straps. So he's just a one guy, makes these incredible watch straps. The ones that I like are his military inspired ones. In fact. His claim to fame was he made the straps for the film Fury.
That sort of replica style, matching the style of the era.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. He makes a bun strap specific for the G10, the CWC G10, because obviously it has its fixed lug, so he's got a bun strap. And I think I'll get one of these in for review one day, because the G10 is, by modern standards, is quite a small watch. Right. So I think the bun strap will add that extra weight to it.
Step it up a little bit, yeah.
And then one of my favorites is the one that he's made, and I've reviewed it on the channel, which is the one made out of old Land Rover. Yeah, so he makes it out of old military Land Rover, like the canopies, and I've got one of these NATOs, and they're really cool. He has this proprietary compound that he uses to attach the canvas together, so it ages really nicely. Yeah, I'm a big fan of these, and it's something totally unique. I mean, you're never going to get I doubt you'll ever get another person making quite these NATO straps similar to the way that he does, and they're outrageously cheap for the effort that he puts into them.
For the right, yeah. When you say, custom handmade strap, that's a unique piece, basically from a material that's unique. That's gonna be one of a kind every time he cuts it. Yeah, $34 US. That's great.
Yeah, it's such great value. And then one that I recently reviewed on the channel, another chap who's making handmade leather straps, but his are on the next level of customization. Not only does he make the standard leather straps that he's perfected over years and years and years, he's also makes, and you saw me review them on the channel, he makes them out of other leathers. So I reviewed one that was the baseball glove. Did you see this baseball glove one?
Yeah. I saw that in person. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool as well. And it's a good, not only you can just buy a strap that is made out of a glove from his website, but if you have a favorite baseball glove or a famous old football, or he's done cowboy boots, handbags. If you've got maybe a damaged handbag or a damaged leather bag, or just some shoes that you can't bear to part with, he'll make a strap out of them. And he does a fantastic job as well. That one I reviewed was just great.
Yeah, it looks really good. Yeah, and great for sports aficionados, and it kind of goes, with the.
This strap was actually sent to Stephen on the Facebook group, who is a huge, huge baseball fan, and
Nice.
I loved reviewing it. I thought it was quirky, but I'm nowhere near as big a baseball fan as he is.
Yeah.
And
That's
then a strap that I've not seen yet, but I ordered this, is this Nick Mankey Designs. Sorry, Nick,
okay.
I've said your name wrong. Kris and I are going to get him on the show, but he makes his version of like a Marine Nationale, like an elastic strap.
Mm-hmm.
But they're quite cool because they're sort of aviation themed.
Right.
And
I like that. Flight data.
it's really good, isn't it? And it's like remove before flight. So I'm going to review this on the channel. So these are elasticated straps.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fully paid up member. If you go on his Instagram, you can see where he's sat on like his kitchen table, like just he's hand making all of these straps.
Wow.
It's incredible. I've had the pleasure of like chatting to him a few times over email, and Kris and I are going to get him on the show. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Now, because they are handmade, they take it takes them a while to. The demand for these is so high. In fact, I ordered mine before Christmas, and it's only just shipping now. So it's like 2 or 3 months. But
well, I mean, that's a good problem to have. As far as as you've got something that he's got a hot ticket there for sure.
Absolutely. So, Kris, do you think there's any that I've missed? Any special mentions?
Yeah, maybe I'd give a shout out to when I first started getting interested in straps. I had some good luck with Clockwork Synergy. I found them probably a couple of years ago when I first started getting into watches. They offer a whole bunch of stuff. And probably got me started on my Gulf NATO obsession there. But they've got pretty decent leather. I've got a couple of their leather straps, pretty decent. A bunch of their NATO straps are always, very good. Their customer service is excellent. One time they had an order to me that something was taking a long time to get, and they contacted me right away and offered me a free strap, and then just it was super in communication, which is nice. I would say that if you're looking for something, maybe this is the place versus just trying to find it on like an Amazon seller. I'd rather reach out to a company like this and get a decent, inexpensive strap versus just some random Amazon seller where you don't necessarily know where it's coming from.
Oh, yeah, and they've got the Zao Baltimore watch on there. A big shout out to Alan from Zao Baltimore. But I tell you one place that I've personally never had any luck with, and that's Cheap as NATO's. Have you ever bought from them?
Yeah, I'm not. I
struggle. The prices are like amazing, and I think it's maybe run by 1 or 2 people, and they ship them from it's either Norway or Sweden or somewhere. But I have never had any luck with. I know they've got a Tropic strap that's very, very similar to Uncle Seiko's,
right?
But the rubber compound is completely different.
Yeah. I've had a few times where I think there's maybe 2 types of folks. Like maybe it's just the value of the watch. I mean, I don't know about you, Sam, but like when you start to have something of value, on your wrist and you cherish it and you're wearing it every day, you're like, you know what? I'm not gonna get just the cheapest NATO. And the sort of the name of it, right? And so when they you talk about like the name of the company, I almost feel like like I don't necessarily want that. I want to get something that's decent. Well, this is the cheapest, but they certainly do what they say, so that's important.
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose what spurred this off for me as well is Don on the Facebook group had one of those NDC Marine Nationale watch straps that's similar to Erica's originals, where they're about $80 to $90 price range. Yeah. I might have to bite the bullet and get one in for review, but
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced either of those? I just don't know how.
I did. I bought a Erica's original.
Oh, right.
And yeah, it's good quality. It's I'm not a fan of the way the buckle works, but that's not a ding on the material of the buckle. That's just personal preference. I do think they're overpriced. I do think that the story that is told is a little extrapolated. So unlike your folks making stuff out of actual baseball gloves, those Marine National Oil straps they're not all made out of French parachute material. Like, they're made of new material. So it's hearkening back to when they made it out of parachute material, but it's all new material. It's all
yeah, because isn't the story something like that they got shipped the watches, but there wasn't any watch straps, so they basically the
something
soldiers
like that.
Just made something out of
right,
like a clip and
yeah. So they would take the same elastic parachute material was 18, 20 millimeters, whatever, and they would just make, they just stitch something together. That was the sort of the original idea. And I think there was this, again, marketing great, like nostalgia for that, like, cool, like made of a Land Rover, made of a French parachute, like totally, I get it. But also it's not actually it's made of new material, and like, they didn't have it in all different colors. Like, it comes in different colors now, which is great. But stretching that a little bit, and I think they're a little overpriced. But it's again, personal preference. So
yeah, again, I'm definitely going to have to review one, because there's a few, and there's also another one, Zulu Time, and that's a strap based on a British military watch strap, which I think was used in the 80s or Falklands period, that's got another different type of buckle on as well. So there's a lot of those kind of military straps. But yeah, I want to try and get Erica's original, and just to see it for myself, because I know some people swear by them. I know Luke on the Facebook group absolutely loves them, but I'm definitely intrigued about how a watch that looks quite simple, as if it's like one piece of elastic that you seem like you could just buy for a couple of dollars.
Yeah, it has. So for the buckle, I believe you have to put I might be wrong on this, but I purchased one where you had to put the spring bars in with the strap on. So basically so it's not like you thread it. It's not like a quick change thing. You have to like pull the watch, pull the spring bars off, set the band in the way it's supposed to be, put the spring bars in, and I think it's, again, going back to personal preference. You know how the more expensive a sports car is, the weirder you look getting out of it. So I think it was just a matter of me like holding the watch strap up and like trying to like redo the buckle. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm going to look like a dork. So nothing, again, this is all personal preference. It's nothing to do with how the brand or the people. It's just a matter of personal preference for getting those on. So you'll have to, and you're right. There's like 3 different types. There's ones that like hook, and there's ones that like will loop through and sort of give you some adjustments. So you can kind of adjust it on the fly, which is cool. So lots of stuff out there. I hope that we inspired some shopping.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I really appreciate you watching and listening this week, and we'll see you next time on Casual Watch Talk. Thanks, guys. Bye.